program, just 60% of the second PPP program. We have already drawn down $33.2 billion. So roughly the equivalent amount of the entire first program, even though just 60% of the funds have been distributed nationwide. It's a way of saying this: we are doing much better in this second round. More loans, almost 3 times as many loans have been drawn down in the state of California, and more money. So we're very encouraged by that. When you add up both loan programs, average them out, we're currently doing about 11.2% of all of the loans in America, and 12.9%, roughly 13% of all of the money coming into the state. It's getting closer to where it should be. Again, the good news is 60% in this second round, and that's where we're punching above our weight. Critical for small businesses to be able to draw those dollars down. Critical that people that don't need it don't take advantage of that program, and critical for companies that are very large and have huge cash capacity, not to compete with businesses like this that must be the top priority of a program like that. So I wanted to update you on the PPP program. Some good news there as it relates to California punching above its weight on this second iteration of that plan. I also want to give you an update briefly on some very positive developments in Orange County. I announced yesterday Laguna Beach. We announced yesterday the work that we had done with their mayor and the work we're doing in San Clemente to reopen the beaches down there. I couldn't be more complimentary of their local elected officials. The mayor of Laguna Beach, a prime example how collaborative and cooperative his team was with our team to come up with appropriate restrictions in terms of beach access, but to be able to open up those beaches for access. We announced those yesterday. The good news is just a few hours ago, we were able to make similar commitment in terms of protocols and procedures with Huntington Beach, Dana Point, and Seal Beach. So those are opening back up as well. And again, extension of real gratitude for their local elected officials that worked so closely with our teams over the weekend, over the course of the last 24 hours, so that we're in a position to make that announcement. It's the spirit of collaboration and cooperation that is necessary as we move forward. And again, I want to express gratitude to folks in Ventura, San Diego, LA, and elsewhere that also offered guidance and assistance on some of their best practices and their protocols that are all aiding and helping support these broader efforts. So Huntington Beach reopening, Dana Point reopening, Seal Beach reopening, working with the county supervisors in Orange County. We hope new developments there very shortly, as well as Newport, but real progress in that space, again, in the spirit of collaboration, in the spirit of partnership. And again, I, more than anyone, look forward to making subsequent announcements in this space as we move forward. Just briefly, we reached a milestone, an important one, over $10 billion of unemployment insurance we've now distributed to people all across the state of California just since March 15th. Again, this is unprecedented in our state's history. These are numbers no one thought they'd see in our lifetime. $10.1 billion to be exact now has been distributed. Some 4.1 million people have filed for unemployment, not since March 15th, but since March 12th. That includes people under the PUA program, a lot of letters. PUA, not PPP, not PPE. The PUA program is the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, like unemployment insurance for people that are self-employed, people in the gig economy and the like. Roughly 450,000 of those 4+ million people that have filed for claims are in that category. And as you know, we're getting a stubborn amount of money out, meaning not the full amount, but getting at least $767 out as the first round of contribution as we adjudicate the facts on the actual claims. This goes deep into the issues that have been brought to the fore today through a lawsuit by our Attorney General and a number of city attorneys related to misclassification of employees, related to AB 5, vernacular Assembly Bill 5 that people know well here in the state of California. Bill that is a full effect of law. It's a codification of a Supreme Court decision well over a year ago. And in our January budget, we announced the enforcement of that in terms of recommendations to get more personnel and staff. The budget that I'll be submitting as the May revise on May 14th will further that effort. And I just say that to make this point. We have a lot of work to do in that space around misclassifications, the PUA issues related to UI issues, just undergird some of the anxiety in that space, just one of many reasons why we're pleased the state of California is taking leadership in this space. But in that transition, always there are some challenges. Final point before I open up to questions. I want to just update you on the total number of positives in the state of California, total number of lives lost, hospitalizations, and ICUs. In terms of the total number of new positives, 1,275 new positives that we identified yesterday. What's significant about that is that number is plus or minus in a margin that we've seen over the course of the last number of days. And just over the course of the last number of days, roughly the last 3 days, we've tested just shy of 100,000 people. Just in the last 3 days in the state of California, we've tested now just shy of 780,000 people in this state. Roughly 100,000 just in the last 3 days. The good news is total number of positives at 1,275 remain within a margin of error, fairly steady, despite the significant increase in the total number of tests. We saw 63, tragically, number is 63 people lost their lives in this reporting period. 63 lives torn asunder, 63 families whose lives have radically changed. Our heart goes out to every single one of those families. And by extension, always our concern, number of people in ICUs and hospitalized. We saw the hospitalization numbers drop yesterday. They went up modestly to the last 24 hours by 2.6%, but the ICU numbers went down 1.9%. So ICU's down today, hospitalizations up. Yesterday it was the opposite. The good news, again, in an effort to try to not confuse you, but to also be accountable to being as precise as I possibly can, we have people under investigation, the PUIs, not the PUAs. The PUIs, people under investigation, both for hospitalizations and ICUs, those numbers also dropped yesterday. It's another positive indication. If we were putting out a report card today, it would be even slightly stronger than the report card we put out yesterday that give us, again, more confidence in our capacity to move forward with the modifications of our stay-at-home order later this week. Again, modest but meaningful modifications, phased approach, frame of health first. These indicators will guide us into this new phase. And final words before I do open up for question. We continue to have very robust and very, very positive conversations with our county and county health officials, our county elected representatives and health officials, as they understandably are inquiring about the capacity to make variance requests through self-attestments, self-certifications with containment plans that will allow them to go deeper into our phase 2. And so we are working with them hand in glove. The information around what that criteria looks like will be forthcoming well within the timeline we established and communicated yesterday. So that's a long-winded update on the day, but a very, I think, positive day in terms of some of these indicators. Caution always that this can change radically as we enter into this second phase. Now with that, happy to answer any questions.
Hi, Governor.